fantastic, brilliant, and such sensitive playing together as well. It was a joy to hear, actually. I don't really know what to say. Maybe we could just start at the beginning and just work a little bit on. I feel like you have such a great command of the piece that you're so on top of it that there's space now to live in it even more in the moment that you're in. Sometimes it feels as though it's you're slightly ahead of yourself almost mentally sometimes. Does that make sense? It's particularly in some of the lyrical stuff that you really sink into them and you really enjoy those moments. The rhythmic element to it, which is so strong, and you keep it so, the pulse is so strong all the way through. It could break the almost. You could stretch the beats and somehow. It's like the physical sensation that you feel playing this piece. There's so much of that, and sort of anguish as well, and anger as well. And you could, I think, enjoy and try and bring out that element slightly more. Maybe if we just start at the beginning, start one more time. So already there, it's so clear, but the very first beat, that rest, is so important, and to really feel that. I didn't quite feel it. Okay. So one more time, you really, I want to feel, you were doing the viola. Did you see any of the viola class? You missed it. There's that feeling of stamping your feet before you start, that incredible intensity. So that there's a has a lot of that energy that I was talking about. When you get here, this is the first point, I think, that you really feel that you can expand. As you performed before, there were moments as you got into the performance where you really looked up and you took in this situation, and those were such lovely moments because it felt like you were inviting the whole audience into the performance. If you could, when you get to the top there, it's the first moment it's kind of soaring over the orchestra and you have this incredible sweep of sound. So if you could physically mirror that in the way that you're playing it, because it's still a tiny bit in the rhythmic feel, that really open up physically. Fantastic. Sorry. A little bit of rushing. If you really keep the gravity. You've got a great sound, but it feels tight just at the top, and where you want it to feel it's most open and relaxed. Somehow it feels, it's almost like you're slightly rigid in your back at that point. If you could just try and open out even more than that. And then the sound, I mean, it's, sorry, do you mind if I just one more time? It feels like a little bit that you're more, tiny bit of tension in it. Oh, sorry, but openness there around your shoulders. Do you know what I mean? It's hard because it's such a small moment to get into that feeling. I mean, it's so quick, the transition.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say is, in the opening, careful that the quavers don't rush. So, I think there's nowhere to start other than the beginning, so we'll just start again. Brilliant sound. You should be pushing against the pulse. The struggle is against the pulse. So if you slow it down, you take away that element of struggle, I think. So you should try, and you should be like, if the piano's part doesn't yield, the orchestra won't yield to that. You've got to fight against it, and that's what this piece has so much of that spirit. It's an incredible experience to play this piece, isn't it? I mean, it's something that it's like nothing else. It gives you unbelievable energy, and I think it's the fact that there is all of it, that rhythmic struggle, and you can really tap into it on a very primal level. It feels like nothing else to play. So don't let the stroke that you're trying to do distort that. Fight against it more, but against the pulse. Of notes, sometimes I feel that you're being too sensitive. It's really ripping something completely wild. I think if it's too civilized, the end of the note, you're listening incredibly well to the orchestra. But I think that there is that element of actually having a fight with the orchestra, as opposed to inviting them to play. So, just in those phrases, really, really let it loose, let it free. Again, even more, just exaggerating these elements of it, the struggle and the theatre of it as well. Yum bum 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 bum. I feel playing that passage is it's a question of struggling against the pulse in yourself. So you want more time, but you're not allowed to take it. So there's this incredible physical to get the bow back in time to be in the next stroke should be a real struggle. And at the moment, it's maybe not quite enough of a struggle. fantastic, and you didn't let the pulse slip. But I think you could even try and use more bow, make it even harder for yourself. Yum bum 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 bum. Yeah, just more speed and more, trying to get back faster. One more time. Lovely sound here. If it's possible to have the sound, it sounds a tiny bit sticky. The sound, and I wonder whether that's what are you feeling about that passage?
It's more open and lyrical than the stuff.
Yeah.
It's a different mood, but at the same time still tense.
Yeah. Okay. There's definitely release in the sound, isn't there, at certain points? I think I could just have, again, just a little bit more. I'm just trying to encourage the contrast here, so that you have more of that freedom. I mean, it was great, and I could tell you were doing it, but I just want more of it, basically. Is slightly dead towards the end of the notes. Perhaps that would help to keep the sound. I imagine the sound keeps spinning, that it doesn't ever settle. And I think if the left hand was a bit more active towards the ends of the notes, we'd get more of that rush of spinning sound. So really consciously keep it active. I mean, it really is quite mundane in a way. It's just a G playing it over and over again. But when you come back to it the second time, ya da 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 yum tia, it's another reaffirmation of what you're trying to say. So it has to have even more intensity. And at the moment, it's just slightly too similar to what you've played before. So give something even more. Find something. Just that little transition there. There's room to bring the audience into you, as opposed to all of this extrovert music. You can suddenly create something from within, to bringing out that contrast there. That was so much better. So that each time you don't think it can possibly get any more intense, and every time you've got to find something to bring out even more, and you did it brilliantly then. So particularly when you get to that final top note, it's just so explosive, and you just want to, I don't know, yeah, the intensity is almost unbearable. And then suddenly you have to do this kind of quicksilver change to draw us back in again. And I think that scope, it always could be wider. I mean, we could always search for more of that. Sorry to stop. Yeah, but here you're not accompanying. You're battling. So don't be so deferential to the orchestra.
Okay.
Fight them.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, dun, da, da, da. I mean, if you play that chord, just play that chord. It's so ugly and painful, and yeah, and you just fight a little bit more there. And still, some of the end notes, just be careful. Some of the end notes I think you're ending too classically, and I think sometimes it could still have a little bit more, impact at the ends of phrases.
Okay.
Sorry to stop there. Just let's do. Yeah, exactly.